Hi, my name is Angela Lewis, and I'm one of the hosts of the League of Experts community. Thank you so much for joining this session today. Today, we are going to be talking about getting featured in the media and how you can make that happen. So I have a presentation that I'm going to walk you through, but then I'm also going to show you some examples of how to make this happen. Okay, so here's our plan. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, my experience. We're going to talk about the benefits of media placement, various types of media placement, how to get featured, and then we'll wrap up with a few additional tips. So a little bit about me. I played basketball starting at 12 years old, and that's when I remember my first media placement. We had an interview with a local writer who talked about our team going to nationals. And then I played college basketball, played professionally, coached in college. And this picture here, I even coached my niece's fifth grade team. So I've coached and played at every level. And that's where I learned how to have media interviews. It was my first interaction with the media, and my background's communication. In addition, I published 4 books. I've produced podcasts, and I did all of the media outreach for myself for the work that I've done. And so I had the experience from receiving media attention. And then I also had the experience reaching out to the media as well. And so to date, we've booked over 500 interviews, sent over 6,000 pitches. So my goal is to share with you some of those learnings from my personal experience as an athlete, a coach, from pitching for books that I've published, and then work that we've done for others in an effort to help you get placed and get featured in the media. So the most important part before we really dive deep is to understand why you're seeking media placements anyway. What do you hope to gain? How does this align with your goals? And what's your long-term vision? Are you seeking media placements to generate leads, to garner more exposure, to build your brand? And what types of media exposure are you looking for? So this is always the starting point, is really understanding your intention behind what you're doing and the efforts to make sure that you're getting out of it exactly what you want to get out of it. So here's some benefits of media placement. Of course, there's brand awareness. You can generate leads. You have content. So for example, if you're going a podcast interview, you can utilize that content for a long time, improve your SEO rating. We had a client recently that told us she Googled herself. And when she Googled herself, she saw all of the links to the interviews that she's had. In addition, she saw that they were on multiple platforms. So her SEO has skyrocketed without her having to do anything other than have interviews. And for some people, media placement is to expand their network. So understanding why you're doing it and getting clear about the benefits can help you as well. Let's talk about the different types of media. There are 3 types of media. There's owned media, paid media, and earned media. The first one, owned media, is the media that you create. This could be your reels. These can be your carousels. These are articles that maybe you've written, or blogs that you've written about your product, services, or case studies with your clients. Any content that you own, that you've created, that you or your team has created specifically for your platforms. So think about owned media as the work that you're putting in that's going on your platforms that are your assets, okay? Paid media is exactly like it sounds. You've maybe paid for advertisement, maybe you sponsored a post, maybe you boosted a post on a platform, on social media, maybe you run Facebook ads, or you've boosted a post on Instagram, or you've done ads on LinkedIn. any time there's a monetary fee that you've paid to be a part of that specific media and to get that attention, that's paid media. Excuse me, I needed some tea. So the third one is earned media. And this is the one we are going to focus on. And earned media is when a third party, a magazine, possibly a podcast, a blog that someone else writes, or an article that someone else writes about you or mentions you, that's earned media. And there are many benefits to earned media. Here are the different types. So there's newspapers, magazine, a television segment, maybe you have an upcoming event, a radio segment, podcast interviews, user-generated content, social media mentions, recommendations, or content sharing from others. So these are the different types of earned media. So here is why earned media is so powerful, and this is why we're focusing on earned media. Earned media is free. It raises awareness, and it gets you additional exposure about your business. So we really like earned media because it allows people to hear from a third party and it builds credibility in your business. It's one thing for me to say that we get people placed, is another thing for you to hear from a client the work that we're doing and them giving their recommendation. Have you ever heard someone just talk about how great they are, but then you ask someone else about it and they give you their feedback? Guess why Amazon has all the reviews, right? So that we go on and we see what the person who put the product up there says, but we want to know what the people who have used the product has to say. So earned media is really powerful because you're hearing from a third party, from a newspaper, a magazine, a podcast, a recommendation from someone. So how to get featured in the media? This is where we're going to live. IMAGE is our acronym. And first, you want to identify the topics that you're going to speak about and what platforms you want to utilize. Let me go back to here. So here are the types of earned media: newspapers, magazines, TV segments, radio, podcast interviews, social media mentions, user-generated content recommendations, and sharing of your content. So identify which platforms you want to utilize, and we're going to walk through an example here. So let's say, for example, you want to focus on business topics and you want to focus on a particular magazine, Business Insider. Okay, I'm going to stop the share for a second. So you go to Business Insider's website. And you see that here's an article. Elon Musk is right. AI needs to slow down for the good of society. Okay. And we see that on Business Insider, you can click this little icon on the left, and it gives you all of the different categories. Well, we're focusing on business, and you go through and you read this article and you decide, you know what, this is the type of topic. This is businesses, technology. This aligns with what I want to talk about. And right here is the name of the writer, Amelia David. So we can click on her name. It tells you a little bit. Amelia David is a reporter in the tech analysis desk covering trends and issues in technology sector. She was previously on the VC team covering fintech, LPs, emerging funds for Insider, graduate of CUNY Graduate School Journalism. She's based in New York. Her work has appeared in these various publications. Okay, great. Looks like we have her email here and her Twitter. So let's click on her email. And then you can literally email her right now. It literally gives you her email address. But I don't recommend doing that just yet. Don't email, because we don't know what she's asking for. We don't know what she's looking for. So instead, I recommend going over to Twitter. Follow her on Twitter, which I've done, and then scroll down and you'll see right here, she says, some personal news that's not COVID related. This was from last year, but it's pinned. She said, today was my last day at VC Journal. She's joining Business Insider, which clearly she is a writer for that now. She said, hit me up with stories at edavid@insider. Okay. So if we open this up, people have congratulated her, which is great. And then if you scroll down and read, she tells you kind of what she's been writing about. So highly recommend reading some of her work. We'll get to the part where you'll actually pitch her, but you want to get an idea of what the topics are that she's talking about. So you can read through some of that. And then when you see that there is an opportunity for you to write a message, when she says, kind of, here are the stories that I'm looking for, then you'll go ahead and pitch a story to her. I also recommend following other journalists. So if we go to home, these are people, Business Insider, right? You're able to so following Jamel Hill, contributing writer for The Atlantic. We have writes fiction, edits news, USA Today Travel. Woman is at Kindred Parents, so it's a writer for parents. So you can go through here and find different writers and editors and be able to see what they're interested in and what types of submissions that they're calling for on Twitter. So you can go to Insider, read an article based on the topic that you're interested in. Remember, identifying your topic. Based on the topic that you're interested in, find the writer and follow them on social. And then you can also get their email address and read a few of their articles, and then you can pitch stories to that specific person, okay? So let me go back. So remember, the first step is to identify the topic and the type of media that you are interested in. Second, make contact with the writers, which I just showed you how to do, okay? And then ask what types of people or stories, what types of people or stories they're looking to be featured. Give them what they ask for and engage with them on other platforms. So let me give you an example of this. Another way that you can get earned media is using a service called Help a Reporter Out, HARO, H-A-R-O. So let me show you how HARO works. You're going to go to this website, Help a Reporter. This is really, really simple. Okay, so either you're a journalist, you click I'm a journalist, or I'm a source. Click I'm a source, which means that you are someone who's going to be offering valuable information to specific stories. I'm a source, and then it tells you how it works, right? Sources will receive 3 emails daily, Monday through Friday, 5:35 a.m., 12:35, 5:35 p.m. It tells exactly what you must have and what you need to know. to be a quality source. You sign up. I've already signed up, but you'll sign up if you haven't. You'll get an email, and then you will start to receive messages such as this. So I clicked on business and finance. Here's an index of different stories, but then what you'll see here is a request. So here's a summary: inviting healthcare professionals to our Founders Corner podcast. They are actually seeking guests for their podcast. Here's the name of the host, the category, the email, the media outlet, the deadline. Definitely pay attention to this. And here's what they tell you they're looking for. We're looking for small and medium-sized healthcare practice owners interested in being a guest on our podcast, Founders Corner, our podcast. On our podcast, our CEO, AJ Prasad, answers your questions about growing your practice and perfect your marketing strategy requirements. Okay. Need to be a healthcare practice that needs expert advice on marketing strategy and how to grow your business. Need to be looking for advice and must apply 4 to 5 questions that want to be answered and want to ignite a discussion on marketing tactics to give you a genuine free advice. So if this is you and you fit the requirements, you would send an email and make contact with them and let them know that you're interested. This is completely free. I forgot to mention that. The service is free. These emails are free. You can respond for free. There's no cost associated with this specific level of HARO. And 3 times a day, we get these. Here's another one. It's about real estate landing pages. Your requirements: send a link of your landing page. So you'll get these emails and then you're able to sort through and say, oh, this is something I can contribute to, or no. If it's not, then you can just bypass it. Okay, so that is HARO, Help a Reporter Out. Remember, go to helpareporter.com. You'll sign up and then you'll be asked to verify your email. After you verify your email, then you will be asked about the different categories and you'll receive 3 emails a day per category. Okay. The next thing that is important is, as I mentioned, with this framework that we utilize, identify your topic and media type, make contact with the person, give them what they ask for. Please give them what they ask for. You may have a really great service or really great product, but if it doesn't align, then now isn't the time. But what you can do, regardless of if you're ready to pitch or not, is to engage with them on other platforms and to always show gratitude for them being willing to reach out and connect with you. The earned media is really about the long game, because we've seen that someone will go on a podcast, for example. They'll have great rapport with the host, and then the host will ask them to come back to be on another episode a few months down the line. Maybe they're launching a new product and they have an initial interview, but when the product actually comes out, they can come back and have another interview. We've even had some hosts who have multiple platforms. So they'll ask them to be on the interview, but then maybe also have an Instagram live session with them. So the beauty of earned media is you really get to earn it based on your expertise, and the ripple effect of that earned media can go very, very far if you're focused on building relationship with the contributors, writers, and our hosts, depending on what type of platform you're utilizing, what type of media, earned media you're going after. So engage and have gratitude. So here's the relationship building piece that we have to continue to talk about and not overlook. 1, find commonalities. The person that we just read about from Business Insider, Amelia, said that she was an immigrant, right? So if you have that same background, then maybe you can relate to that. Intend to build the connection with thoughtful questions. What can you ask in the group, in our community? Over the past few days, I've been talking about, like, how do you create this pitch? How do you know what to say? Well, you want to be engaging and ask thoughtful questions about the article or about what they've posted. So you can say, thank you so much for mentioning insert comment. This made me think about insert comment. What are your thoughts? Or this was a really interesting topic about insert topic. And then you'll say, how does this compare to something else? So you want to ask thoughtful and engaging questions to let them know that you actually care about the article and not that you're solely seeking earned media. And that goes with thinking about win-win partnerships. For a magazine, it might not make sense for partnership because the contributor, the writer, doesn't own the magazine and they can't necessarily create a partnership. But if it's a blog or if it's someone on social media and even a podcast, of course, you can think about partnerships. There's someone we work with who had a great interview with a host, and this particular client has a community. So she invited that host to give a presentation to the community because the host is a business owner as well. And so it ended up serving both of them and both of their audiences because they found a way to partner beyond the interview. So there was an initial interview, but there's so much more that can come of that if you focus on relationship building. And then, of course, the other piece to relationship building and getting earned media is actually just staying engaged. So liking, reviewing, sharing. And this could be for all of the different types of earned media that we discussed earlier. You can share the newspaper article, share the radio interview, share your podcast interview. You can share that they shared to your story on Instagram, right? So just being willing to share is a great way to show your gratitude for the earned media, but also to sow the seeds for additional media in the future. And then just to review, so you want to research and identify the platforms and the topics. Of course, Google, as always, but Twitter, Haro, you can look at other social media platforms, but identify the topics identify the topics and the platforms that you want to discuss, and find those topics, find those platforms. Pitch yourself for interviews. So you can use some of the templates that we discussed about the interviews, or you can work with someone to help you pitch and craft those messages for you. And there's software that exists as well that can help you do the same. So I hope you found this session helpful on how to get media placements. Remember, earned media is a phenomenal way for you to build momentum, gain credibility from a third-party source, and earned media doesn't cost anything except some time, energy, and effort to do the research, to reach out, and to follow up. But earned media will allow you to help expand your brand, and be sure to understand why you are using that strategy. Thank you so much for being a part of the League of Experts. We are here to help and support you. If you have any questions about this training, again, I'm Angela Lewis. Feel free to contact me directly. You can put it in the chat, and we'll continue to help you gain media attention and share your expertise and your voice. Thank you.